The BC Football Hall of Fame, as I'd mentioned, was started by my father, Bob, and it was his dream to develop the Football Hall of Fame for fans across British Columbia. Certainly Bob's passion was football, and he played football for the not the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, but the Vancouver Blue Bombers, and of course for Vancouver College as well, and began his career with the BC Lions as a water boy way back in 1950-54, and eventually worked his way through the CFL, NFL, and XFL. With all of his success, though, he never lost touch of amateur football and grassroots football and the football family in British Columbia, and the importance certainly that football plays in the development of athletes and citizens throughout our province. So this was one of the many reasons that he wanted to have a legacy that would honor our football heroes of yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and in particular to recognize the unsung heroes from amateur football. This is really the primary piece here. And as in the past, our 2016 inductees are an outstanding group who have brought excellence and pride to football at all levels to British Columbia. Our nominations committee has worked very hard to bring forward this year's pool of nominees, and I would like to thank our contributors. First off, the fans who nominate our inductees through our website. This is an extremely important piece of our process, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'd also like to thank our trustees and all of the others who formed the nominations committee under the direction of Jack Farley. Jack is not only one of our trustees, but was the 2012 recipient of the Bob Ackles Award. Excuse me. I'd like to also acknowledge Wally Bono as a trustee, as well as Larry Rita is with us today as well, and certainly George Chaika as a trustee. I'd also like to thank the BC Football Hall of Fame Board of Directors who, in conjunction with the trustees, arrived at the final selections, and certainly Dennis Skulski, as well as my mom, Kay, as a board of director as well. And I'd be remiss, even though it's not in the script here, Tom Malone, our CEO, who works tirelessly to make sure our organization is running smoothly in the events that we put on. Without our partners, we couldn't do what we do. Thank our partners as well, the Vancouver Sun, the province, TSN, Business in Vancouver, and especially the BC Lions Football Club, for their outstanding support in providing staff, resources, and the opportunity for all football fans to recognize and honor our inductees during the halftime. October 22nd game this year, it will occur as part of the celebration of amateur football night. So we will celebrate and allow the fans to honor those who are being inducted at the October 22nd game against the Edmonton Eskimos. I'd like to also mention our partnership with the BC Sports Hall of Fame and the exhibit we currently have with them that also speaks to the history of our great sport of football in this province. If you haven't seen it yet, it's upstairs at the BC Football Hall of Fame, and I'd like to acknowledge and say thanks to Alison Mailer, our CEO, the BC Sports Hall of Fame CEO, and Jason Beck, who worked very closely with us. So let's get to the inductions, or the announcement of the inductions rather. In the athlete category, I'll briefly go through the categories and then give you the name. Our athletes are any athlete who has attained a high level of excellence and brought recognition or honor to British Columbia football on a national or international level. Both amateur and professionals have been considered. There have been literally thousands of individuals who have made their mark on the football community. Whether they were born and raised in our great province or came here to play the game, the athlete class recognizes all-time great players. This year, the professional ranks, we welcome our first athlete, and this is the professional category. Damon Allen is our first professional athlete. Our next professional athlete is Harold Hasselback. Our final professional is Rod Pantages. And Cole, Rod's son, Cole, is here with us today. Thanks for joining us, Cole. The next group of athletes represents the grassroots of football as they are being celebrated for their contributions to amateur football. The first amateur athlete being inducted is Bruce Barnett. Our second amateur athlete is Steve Cotter. And our final amateur athlete is Eric Guthrie, who's with us today. Eric, thanks for joining us. I'd also like to now move on to the team category. Our team is any team that has attained a high level of excellence and brought recognition or honor to football in British Columbia at a national or provincial level. And this year's class of 2016 team is the 1939 Kitsilano High School football team. In the builder category, our builder is any person who has made an outstanding contribution to the sport of football in British Columbia other than a player. This category shall include former coaches, either amateur or professional, an active or inactive club executive or administrator or contributor to the game, such as a former official. or any person involved with a team or league operation. Very pleased to announce the following individuals who are entered the Hall as builders of the game. This year will be inducted Chris Beaton as a builder, as well as our second builder is George Oswald. George is with us today if you'd like to ask him any questions after the announcement. Our next builder is Matt Phillips. Matt, thank you for joining us today, and his son Jeff's with us as well. Our final builder is Harvey Sedgwick, and I don't know if, did Harvey walk into the room afterwards? I don't think so. Harvey, are you here? Brian Sedgwick, Harvey's son. Thanks for joining us today, Brian. So thanks for joining us, and I'll move on to the CFL Bob Ackles Award. The CFL Bob Ackles Award, sponsored by the CFL, is presented annually to an individual who has made a significant contribution to the sport of football in British Columbia and to the Canadian Football League. And the CFL Bob Ackles Award for 2016 will recognize and honor George Chaika. George, thanks for joining us today. Media. Our media category recognizes any person who has attained a high level of excellence and made a significant contribution to the enjoyment of football in British Columbia through the medium of print, radio, television, and or any similar form of media. The media class also recognizes those individuals who have helped develop a fan following of our great game. And today joining us is Lowell Ulrich. Thanks for joining us, Lowell. Done a lot for the game, Lowell. Thank you. The BC Football Hall of Fame Special Award is presented from time to time to an individual or team who has made a significant contribution to football in British Columbia, but who may not otherwise qualify for induction into the BC Football Hall of Fame. The 2016 BC Football Hall of Fame Special Award recipient is the Mariloma Club, the Mariloma Football Club. And Ed Murray. Did Ed Murray join us? Has he arrived yet? Ed? Oh, thanks for joining us, Ed. Thank you. Ed, of course, retired head coach of the Vancouver Marilomas football team, and Ed was also inducted as a builder in 2014 to the BC Football Hall of Fame. Thanks, Ed. The next step will be to form, that's all of our inductees for this year, so we've got a fantastic class of individuals and organizations to add to our football family, and those being recognized at the BC Football Hall of Fame this year. So I think a round of applause is we got so many attending. Thank you so much. The next step will be to formally celebrate all of our inductees on October 22nd during the Edmonton Eskimos game, at which time we'll have a ceremony in the banquet rooms at this level, and of course be recognized throughout the game through video, as well as during the halftime show as we celebrate amateur football. So we're looking forward to that, and we'll certainly have a lot of our inductees who have been inducted since 2011 be joining us for that, who will help pass the torch. As mentioned, some of our inductees are here today, and they're available for any interviews, comments that you'd like to follow up on. And I also encourage you to visit our website, the BC Football Hall of Fame. Again, this is the first step in the process. The really important piece for us in order to continue to move forward, to have people nominated and then, of course, reviewed by our nominations committee and the organization to help us get to the 2017 class of inductees. So if you can help us with the promotion of that information, that would be very helpful. Press kits are available if you haven't received one already. And as I mentioned, we have another special announcement. And we've been working very closely with an organization, again, to help promote the game of football and the history of our game throughout this province. And the BC Football Hall of Fame and the Richmond Olympic Oval and the Ackles family are working very closely together to develop an exhibit about our love of football, as well as the history of football at the Richmond Olympic Experience, otherwise known as the ROCKS exhibits. If you haven't been there yet, you've got to see this exhibit. It's amazing. It's a fairly substantial interactive exhibit. The launch for the BC Football Hall of Fame part of it will be later in September, so watch out for that. And the exhibit will showcase stories of the development of football in BC over time, early teams, stadiums, football in our communities, the legacy left by Bob Ackles and football heroes inducted into the BC Football Hall of Fame from 2011 to 2016. They've done a fantastic job of pulling together the content, and certainly they met Tom and Kay and I in what we call Bob's Cave in the 63-foot trailer full of memorabilia that he's collected over the years in order to pull together all this information and imagery and pull a story together. So we're really excited about that. and looking forward to that launch in September later this year. We also, as part of the ask of the media, is to promote our nominations through our website. Some of the areas that we haven't heard from, or some of the areas that we haven't seen any nominations from, are Vancouver Island, the interior, the Okanagan, and certainly we're really encouraging some of our football family to make some nominations throughout the entire province as well. So with that, that concludes our announcement. Thank you so much for joining us, for the media joining us today, as well as the inductees and your family members. We really appreciate the support that you give us, and the support that the BC Lions give us as well. We couldn't do that without them in recognizing our heroes each year. So thanks so much, Dennis, to you and the BC Lions Football Club. And good luck with tomorrow's game against the Alouettes. Thanks, everybody.